So here's the final product. It's quite a bit different than from when I first started it. The reason I didn't make more videos is because every time I would get to a certain point and start to make progress on it, I'd have to take it all apart and redo something. So it took a lot to get here, but this is the final product. Just do a quick walk around and talk about it a little bit more. So start off with the brakes. These are basically Worksman wheels. Can't really find them anymore. But at the time I bought these, they were on eBay. You can still find some on there. They're just really expensive. They're both front wheels. The brakes are terrible on them though. So as you can see, I had to beef it up. I just welded a piece of 1/4 inch to it and then sanded it back down, because the factory ones are only like 10 gauge and they bend when you put a lot of pressure on them. So that's all I did for the front one. You can see the peg right there. That keeps it from spinning. This is just like I think it was like an XR70 cable. You can get pretty much any drum brake cable to work with it though. Back brakes, did the same thing. Welded on piece of 1/4 inch. And then just used the heim joints front and rear. That way it's adjustable. Then just made a pivot on the peg. This number plate here is actually a guard, as you can see, because without that your foot ends up running right into the flywheel. So actually the first time I found out about it, took a chunk out of my boot, so I made the guard and then decided just to do a cover on it. So that's all hand done, hand pinstriped by a guy here named Rufus. I think it's Pinstriping by Rufus on Instagram. He did all the pinstriping and lettering on it and did a pretty good job. If you ever do one of these, don't use the stock vent locations. As you can see, it's plugged up. That shoots oil out because it cranks right underneath it. The one on the side here I just plugged up. I've done a lot of tests with just venting out of there, and it seems to be fine so far. Haven't had any problems with it. Ideally I'd like to do them on both, but this is just a test, so it's working fine for now. Carburetor, just a knockoff 34mm flat slide. I didn't have to jet it at all. I just bought it off eBay and everything seemed perfect on it. Starts right up. Electrics, I just stripped down everything off the engine that it came with and then just used the bare minimum. That's the factory ignition. Just try to keep it all simple. Gas cap is just brazed on a piece of copper. It was just whatever was at Home Depot. It has the threads on the inside, and then the gas cap I made. It's a little full right now. I kind of topped it off too much for the heat, but then just air stone. For the 670, I just removed the governor, sealed it up. Nothing really too crazy there. The exhaust, I was trying to make it look like the old board trackers, so I used some iron plumbing fittings and then just brazed on the exhaust tubing. I just rounded up some, I think it's 1 1/4 tubing, just to get like that sweeping kind of motion. Bully clutch, I'm waiting on springs for it. Even with these turned out all the way, the stall is still kind of high for what I want, but it does a pretty good job. I mean, especially with how tall the gearing is on it. If I had to do it over again, I'd probably go up a size or two on the rear sprocket, because right now I still haven't topped it out yet, but I've been going like 60 and it still has more. So that's a little bit too tall for what I need, but it all works. The jack shaft was probably the hardest part. So it just goes from the clutch down to there. Then 3/4 inch shaft. Back to the rear wheels. The seat I did from scratch. I just made a metal seat pan and then did the leather around it. This is veg tan leather, and then it's just held up with a bracket on the bottom. I did this because like the old board trackers, I've never seen any that had springs in it. They were always just solid like that. So I did the same thing. It's fairly comfortable. I mean, it's definitely no suspension, but it hasn't hurt my back too much yet, so it's not bad. The wheel adjusters, just did a real simple design. Just welded a washer to a 1/4-20 threaded rod, and then just made these little clips out of stainless that go behind, and then you just tighten that to pull the wheel out. And then for the front, you can see, trying to get low enough. That's for the front chain, the one going from the clutch to the jack shaft. That's how you adjust it. There's one on each side. You just turn those in and it pushes the motor forward. Water cooler is just mounted, made little mounts for it. Intake I did from scratch. You can see it's just, I used the bottom. This is like the 90-degree part that goes for the stock carburetor. I just cut the top off and then made all this. It's just made out of sheet metal, but it works pretty good so far. This is an eBay manifold. It really sucks. It leaked a lot, so I had to use silicone on it. In the future, I'd probably look for a name brand one. This one just flexes too much to get a good seal. Seems like it's going okay now though. I'll start it up real quick. Still has electric start. Sounds pretty good. Oh. There you have it. I know I left a lot out. There's a big jump between the last video I made and now. I know I left some stuff out, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to post on the video and I'll answer all of them the best I can. I have a lot of pictures on my Instagram also. I checked that out. It's Nate_Mainville, and between that you should be able to see pretty much the whole thing. And let me know what you think. Record.